Okay, so I'm just going to do a quick video and show you guys some seeds I planted here. Let's see, or not planted yet, but that's what I'm gonna do. So first of all, this is it's kind of a greenhouse tray, and it's got these little 6 packs, and they have holes in the bottom, and it'll drain into this bottom dish, which is closed off. And then there's a plastic lid that goes on here, and it fits over to create kind of a greenhouse. So I'm going to start my seedlings in here. I'd said I was going to do key lime, and I've got some key limes and some lemons in here. And I've collected these seeds, and I just rinsed them and soaked them for 24 hours. So they're ready to be planted now. And the reason I did soak them is because it'll help that outer coating on the seed shell to open up and break more freely and quickly and easily. Hopefully it would help it propagate a little faster. So anyways, but with that, I'm going to also do some eggs shells. So I filled the soil in here on these already, and that was just for time's sake, but I'm going to do beets, okra, cucumber, and on these it's gonna be pretty simple. I've got on the side of my tray here pre-labeled with what is going to be in each of these little 6-packs, and so as they begin to sprout and bloom, I'll know what they are, and I'll let them grow until they get to the top of that plastic coating there, and then that can be my transfer to another pot. And I plan to do 2 bigger pots. I'm going to put all my herbs in the bigger pot, and then these little veggies that I'm doing here, depending on how they do, some of them will require their own pot, but the lettuce, the tomato, the lettuce, and the cucumbers, and the okra. If I get a big enough planter, I can make a salad garden bowl, and those okra plants will get pretty big depending on the size of the pot. So we'll just have to see how that goes. But these are beet seeds, and basically they look kind of bumpy and gritty, which is kind of cool. They look almost like a ginger root, only small and dehydrated. So this first little 6-pack is going to be, and I'm going to probably put 2 or 3 seeds in each cell, just because they may not all come back up. And I mean, I'm just very lightly tamping those down and covering them. They don't have to be planted too deeply. And the reason why I'm only doing 2 per cell is because I really, if one of them or both of them come up, I want them to have enough room to get going good, and grow 2 of them in one of those little pockets, which is fine. But I'm just kind of, like I said, taking them, pressing them into that soil, and kind of gonna cover them up. So once those, I need 2 more. And I still have some seeds left in here after this. This last one, maybe I'll do 2 or 3. And when you're doing it like this, as you grow them, you can, you're not going to have that many plants. I mean, that's 6 right there. Well, that would be 12 plants. So 12 beet plants, you're going to get some kind of a harvest out of that. Um, you get nice plants. So basically this beets, I've just used that. And I've got some containers here where I keep my seeds in. Um, this one is vegetable. Well, a lot of them, there's fruits, vegetables, and herbs, and some wildflowers. But I'm gonna put my beets in there since I've already pulled those out. And then the next one I'm gonna do is cucumbers. So I'm gonna do the same thing and basically just get these in some soil, and we're gonna see. Cucumbers are vining plant, and so this is something that if you've got a little space for them to be like a little ground cover or something, you want some coverage, but you also want some food off of it, cucumbers is a good way to go with that. So the cucumber seeds, you can see, kind of look like a miniature pumpkin seed. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing here. Put a couple on each one, you know. And Yahuwah willing, they will all turn into a beautiful plant and produce some beautiful fruits for me. And for those that I'll share them with. And some of these bigger ones too, once I can establish that they're plants and transfer them to a pot, I may, once these little 6-packs get a little bit full, may go ahead and just take them out to my sister's house. And I don't know if I covered all of these or not, so some of these may have a couple extras in there, but I don't think I did this side yet. And a lot of times when you're doing seeds too, I think it's a good idea to go ahead and press that pointy end down into the soil, because more than likely the pointy end is where your root is going to come out. So you want to do that. But so that's probably about 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. We're going to have about 12 cucumber plants there. That's a lot of cucumbers. And so you can see that these seeds will last a while. Now, a lot of people want to say things like, seeds expire, or they, their life will not be in them. This is a container I have with fruits and vegetables, or herbs and different ones. So anyways, the cucumbers going in there because tomato and salad is something I'm going to do often. Then we've got okra. But don't worry about the seeds not working or being old. I believe that the Most High will bless according to His will. Now, that's not saying be foolish. That's just, that's not me being foolish. That's just me being, hey, I trust Father, and in perilous times, I will trust Him even more. But on something I read an article not too long ago about like a, 5,000-year-old seed being found and it producing fruit. So I don't worry about things like expiration dates on these seed packets, because I do believe that Father can bring life to the dead. So I don't really focus too much on that. We will see what will grow, and what will grow you can get new seeds from. So that's one of the ways to just keep your garden going. And as they do grow, you know, they can you can transplant them out and excuse me, transplant them out, and they will continue to grow. You just put more seeds in as you take these seedlings out and transplant them, and then you just go ahead and start some more and keep them going. Or even after you get your once you get into your herbs, you can start to and this is lettuce. That was okra I just did, and this is lettuce, and finally it'll be tomatoes here. But this is lettuce, and lettuce seeds are really tiny. I mean, really, really tiny. So you can barely see them, but they're really tiny. And I'm gonna just randomly scatter some in each. I don't know how many's going in there, but because they are really little. And that's fine, because you probably get several little shoots in each. That one's only gonna have a couple, but not all of those are going to sprout, so I'm not really concerned with overwhelming these little seed buckets here. But I've put quite a few, so this is probably going to be, they're probably going to be pretty thick, but that's okay, because you can start several heads at once. But these things are so tiny. I mean, like, really tiny. But, you know, the mustard seed, which I don't have any mustard seeds. I would like to do mustard seeds sometime, but I don't have any. And I really would like to grow some mustard seeds. They're the tiniest seed. Even though these are pretty small, the mustard seed's even smaller. It's the smallest seed. And it's the only seed that cannot be genetically modified. So that's why that seed was so important. The mustard seed was so important to the Most High, because something that can't be GMO'd, which is a relief. But yeah, I try to get as many plants as possible that will seed itself, so that you can continue to, these are some Gardener's Delight tomatoes, and they're like little cherry tomatoes. So I thought that would be fun to try and see, because I could, you know, it's not going to really require that big of a pot once they get going. So, and maybe do a hanging basket with those cherry tomatoes and see what, how much fruit I can get with those. But, and then of course you'll have thousands of seeds as you eat the tomatoes. You can save some of the seeds from them. So that's, and replant them, of course. And, you know, you can even reuse as you have these, and get your seeds dried. If you're going to dry them first, then you can put them right back into the packet, so you know what you got always. Now, theoretically, I mean, it's worked. And I've been somebody that's been gardening for a long time. I grew up with a mother who's a gardener. My grandparents were farmers and gardeners, so these are the things that I've learned. So anyways, I'm going to pause this, and I'm going to go ahead and do my basil, my cilantro, my oregano, my rosemary, and spearmint. So I'm going to pause it, because I'm not going to bore you with all of this planting. Or just so my video won't be that long, because I'm going to get back and we're going to do the key limes and lemons in eggshell. I'm going to do the key limes and eggshells and lemons in soil. So I'm going to pause, and then I'll be back.